Well, it's happening. We're starting to see the first draft of the White House budget proposal, and it's a bloodbath for the social safety net. We're talking about major cuts to programs like Head Start, LIHEAP, and housing vouchers. Let's break down what's at risk, what this could mean for you and your family, and most importantly, what you can do about it. But first, I'm curious, have you ever counted on any of these programs to keep things going? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments and let me know. So while you're doing that, let's talk about what's actually happening here. Every year, the White House sends Congress a budget proposal. It's basically a wish list, what the administration wants to fund and what they want to cut. Congress doesn't have to follow it, but it gives us a clear look at the government's overall priorities. And based on what we're seeing so far and all the changes that we've seen roll out recently, it's pretty clear that this administration wants to slash costs fast. That means that many of the programs that help low-income individuals and families the most are on the chopping block. Now, we don't know everything, and we won't know everything until the full budget is released. But multiple news outlets have gotten to look at a draft memo, and what's in it has got a lot of people very concerned. The memo calls for cutting 1/3 of federal health spending, eliminating key programs entirely, and consolidating multiple departments. The changes would save tens of billions of dollars a year, but at a very disastrous cost for many low-income Americans. So, what's in the memo? Well, I talked to you just last week about how the entire LIHEAP staff had been laid off. At that time, I had been optimistic that it was just part of a restructuring. But the budget memo clearly spells the end for LIHEAP. The budget calls to completely eliminate this critical program by simply refusing to give it any more money. This is a big deal because LIHEAP helps about 6 million households every year cover the cost of heating and cooling, and the need is growing, especially with rising utility costs and more intense weather. Right now, 1 in 6 households in the United States is behind on their utility bills, with over $21 billion in past due payments owed. But here's the real kicker. States are still waiting on $378 million from this year's funding, money that could help over 750,000 households stay cool this summer. But with no one left at HHS to manage it, and no answers coming from Washington, some states may have to cancel their summer programs or turn people away. And that's just the beginning. Right now, the federal government helps over 2 million low-income families pay rent through the Housing Choice Voucher Program, also called Section 8. This program lets families rent homes in the private market while paying what they can afford while the government covers the rest. But even now, this program can't keep up with demand. Only 1 in 4 eligible families actually gets a voucher. The rest sit on wait lists that can take months or even years. And now this program is at risk too. The draft budget includes major cuts to housing assistance, and internal discussions suggest that vouchers could be reduced or replaced with smaller grants sent to states. That would shift a lot of responsibility away from the federal government, which means it could be even harder to get rental help, especially in rural areas. The administration is also looking at work requirements and time limits for people receiving housing help, which could be especially tough for seniors, people with disabilities, and people who are working in unstable jobs. Now, at the same time, there's another housing program that's running out of money fast, the Emergency Housing Voucher Program, which, you may have forgotten about this one already. It started back during the pandemic to help people who were leaving homelessness or escaping abuse or human trafficking. That funding was expected to last through the end of the decade, but due to rising rents and high needs, the money could run out by next year. If Congress doesn't act, 60,000 people could lose their homes. That includes families, seniors, and veterans who were just starting to get back on their feet. These are not just numbers. These are real people, neighbors, friends, grandparents, children, the kinds of folks who are doing everything they can to survive and still struggling to stay housed. That is heartbreaking, and honestly, it's a little too relatable. I think a lot of us have struggled with housing costs, so I'd love to hear your stories in the comments if you can relate to that. And now let's talk about Head Start, because this is one of the most important programs for young children and working parents. Head Start has been around for nearly 60 years, and it helps nearly 800,000 children across the country. It's more than just preschool. Head Start provides meals, health checkups, therapy services, and family support for low-income families. For many parents, it's also the only affordable childcare option available. But in the new budget draft, Head Start is listed for full elimination. No funding, no support, nothing. That would mean the closure of over 17,000 Head Start centers across the country. More than 250,000 workers could lose their jobs. And parents, many of whom work multiple jobs just to get by, would suddenly have no place to take their children during the day. According to the National Head Start Association, this change could prevent over 1 million parents from being able to work. And honestly, that feels kind of ironic because at the same time they're discussing this change, other changes are being rolled out that really emphasize the importance of work when it comes to receiving benefits. For example, the USDA recently sent out a memo about SNAP, also known as food stamps. This memo focuses on a specific group of recipients called ABODs, that stands for Able-Bodied Adults Without Dependents. These are adults without children who aren't disabled. Under federal rules, they can only get SNAP for 3 months in a 3-year period unless they're working or enrolled in an improved work program. Now, in the past, states could just ask for a waiver, especially if the job market was really bad or there was high unemployment. But this new guidance that they issued makes it clear that those waivers are going to be much harder to get. Even if unemployment is high, it's up to the Secretary of Agriculture to decide whether a waiver should be approved. And the new memo encourages them to be very selective. According to the memo, the law says only that they can waive the work requirements, not that they have to. The goal, according to the USDA, is to reduce dependency on public programs and encourage self-sufficiency. But that's tough to do if people want to work and just can't find a job. And again, these changes don't just hit the people directly affected. They hit communities, families, and support systems. They send people into crisis when they were already just barely hanging on. And it's going to affect businesses too. There are plenty of articles out there that describe the boom and bust cycle of food stamps and how that system completely supports some towns as far as grocery stores and other economies. But that's a discussion for a different day. For now, the good news that I want to share with you is that these rules only apply to able-bodied adults without dependents. If you have young children in your household, or you're pregnant, or you're homeless, or you're a veteran, or you're unable to work because of a physical or mental disability, these changes shouldn't affect you. So, have you or someone you know been affected by SNAP time limits or work requirements? I'd love to hear your story in the comments. And then I just want to talk to you about a few other things really quickly too. I know this is a lot, and I know that everything is happening and changing fast, and these updates have been relentless, and it kind of sucks. I hate being the bearer of bad news. So I want to talk to you about something that's really important here. None of this is final yet. The president can propose whatever he wants in the budget, but it's Congress that actually makes the decisions about what gets funded and what doesn't. And in many cases, Congress chooses not to follow the president's budget exactly. Like I said, the White House issues this kind of thing every year, and Congress is ultimately the one that makes the decisions. So while these cuts are serious and the signals are clear, there's still time to push back, and that's where you come in. If you care about programs like LIHEAP, Head Start, SNAP, or housing vouchers, now is the time to make your voice heard. You can contact your representatives, share your story, or support the groups that are fighting to protect these programs. Go to congress.gov to find the contact information for your elected officials and reach out to them. You can even reach out and work with advocacy organizations who are speaking out against these changes. The National Head Start Association is gathering signatures on a letter, and you can sign it easily online on their website. You can reach out to other organizations as well, like the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, for more opportunities to get involved and help speak up about these changes. And of course, I would also love to hear from you in the comments. I care about you and I worry about you a lot. So let me know how you're doing, how you feel about this, and which of these programs matters most to your family. I'd love to see those responses. So drop a comment, share your experience, and help us help others understand why these programs matter so much. Like I said earlier, I know things are changing fast, but we're doing our best to help you stay updated on the changes that are going to matter most to you. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos for more ways to save money and get free stuff. I'll see you there.